Civilians have been injured. We have one firefighter who was taken to the hospital for exhaustion. That firefighter is in stable condition. We have two neighborhoods to the west that they were initially sheltered in place. They've been further evacuated. The Camden County has evacuated the Dover Bluff area. We have two schools to the west that are 2.3 miles away. They are being sheltered in place. The south side of the port was evacuated at about 6:30 a.m. Obviously, you can tell by behind me, we're working with multiple agencies. I can't name them all, but we're including the Georgia EPD, the Coast Guard, the natural resources. We have the hazardous materials team from Jacksonville. We have the hazardous materials team from Savannah, and we're all working together. It's way too early to determine the cause of this fire, so please don't even ask. We're working on, right now, the hazmat teams are working together to get in closer to determine what further efforts need to be done, if there's going to be further evacuations necessary. It's something that right now nobody's in severe danger, so they're not being too aggressive with it because this is a volatile chemical. Once all the evacuations are finished and people can return to place, each of the agencies will push out through social media that it's safe to get back to the areas needed. With that, I have multiple representatives, and I know you've got multiple questions. We'll answer any questions that we possibly can.
So how do you know that these chemicals are hazardous? I'm assuming that's why you're evacuating people, because it's hazardous to people's health?
Absolutely. I mean, we have hazmat teams. It's known, the plant knows, everybody knows that they're hazardous, but when they're in the plant, they're contained. They're not an issue. When you have a fire and you've got plumes of smoke, then they dissipate, and you have to take all the precautions for the public. And right now, the public is our main focus. We want to make sure that everybody's safe, that nobody's going to have any issues whatsoever. So we will evacuate more than we need to evacuate, and I know it's a big inconvenience to the people, but it's the right thing to do for health and safety reasons.
Are there any concerns for chemicals in the air that have already gotten out, that are already out for the public?
At this time, well, I'm going to say no. I mean, it's too, they're monitoring. We monitor the air, we monitor the area, and we've taken, we got even the weather services here to tell us the winds and where the plumes are going to go. We're not active currently. Right now, we're not actively with big plumes of smoke, so it's not as much of an issue. The fire's not under control. I'd like to say it was under control, but it's not at this time. They're not actively fighting it. The hazmat teams are making their approach in a cautious, safe way to determine what's the next step that we need to do.
Do you know what chemical it is? Obviously, if hazmat's here, they have to take specific precautions for specific chemicals.
Correct.
And you know what's burning there now?
Well, yeah, the main chemical that we're dealing with is hydrogen peroxide pyrene. Pinene, sorry.
Do you know what it's used in?
What is it used in?
Well, this chemical is used as an intermediate to prepare fragrance ingredients. For example, linalool oil as one of the examples. So that's what it's good for.
Did everybody get that? It's used in fragrances. It's primarily in fragrances.
Any timeline for when the fire can be put out?
No, at this point, safety's the issue. So we're not going to rush in. It's not like a house fire where we have people in danger and everything like that, and we're going to rush in. We are going to take very calculated, slow steps at this and make sure that nobody's in further jeopardy.
You talked about right now there's not large plumes of smoke. Do you expect that to change throughout the afternoon, throughout the evening? Obviously, this is a long-term event for you all.
The hope is no, it won't change. I mean, we're trying to do the best. We've got two hazmat teams here. We've got we're dealing with the water issues. We've got tankers coming in. We're trying to stay a step ahead of it and do what we do best, and that's protect the public.
Do you know about how many people have been evacuated, how many households, and is there a place for them to go during this time?
Does anybody have? Hang on one second.
They're being sent to Ballard Gymnasium.
Do we know about how many?
No, I don't know.
At this time, we think there's about 100 households that have evacuated. We're asking for them to evacuate. Of course, we can't make them evacuate. We did set up a shelter. At this point, there's no one that has come in that we're aware of to the shelter.
Will that stay open throughout the night if this becomes a more long-term thing?
It's an hour by hour kind of consideration.
Will somebody explain a little bit about what goes into monitoring how much of the chemicals might be in the air?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have the fire department. Every department has chemical devices that we can monitor the air. We can monitor for many, many different types of chemicals for safety. So it's technology. We rely on technology.
And you said there were 2 additional explosions. Is that all at the same chemical plant?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we can't determine right now what the explosions were because we can't get close and see exactly. But with each explosion, it could be a sudden release of the chemical that mixes with the fire and creates an explosion. You don't know exactly what it is. It could be a tank overpressurized and exploded. But again, like I said, we're not going to speculate on that. There have been explosions. Nobody was hurt as a result of those explosions. That's a win for us.
What safety precautions are being taken to protect those that are actually out there fighting these fires and explosions?
Well, I mean, that's part of our job. We know what gear to wear and what gear not to wear. Obviously, respiratory is a huge thing. Right now we're staged way far back from it, and some of it's just being allowed to burn. As they go and evaluate where the chemicals are leaking, where the chemicals are, where they've leaked to, there's a lot of processes that go in it. So, we're dealing with people from the plant, people from the fire department, people from many different agencies. It takes a team. This is a team right here, and you should know that your public is being protected by this team right here.
This is coastal Georgia, and obviously the winds shift in the afternoon here. Is that something that is being monitored now, and you could see more evacuation areas?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got weather people on site. Their job is to tell us what do we expect, what do we look for, where do we protect. I mean, they have charts showing where the wind will blow it and how far it'll carry the chemicals.
And then we heard there was a firefighter injured earlier today. Can you go into the extent of that first?
It was exhaustion. I mean, I can tell you firsthand. You go into one of these fires and you're working really hard. 4 a.m. The firefighter was probably asleep, so the firefighter went from 0 to 150 miles an hour like that. It's exhausting. It's hard work. It's hot. There's a lot going on. We're happy to say that the firefighter is stable at this time.
How many people were inside the plant working when the fire started and when the explosion?
I'm told that the plant had 6 people. That might be a little bit different because it was shift change. So it may have been 7 or 8. They're all accounted for. They have no injuries. Correct.
And just one more time, can you confirm the chemical hydrogen?
Hydrogen peroxide, pinene.
Can you break down the challenges with bringing in water supplies? And obviously this is an ongoing situation. So can you break down what we'll expect to see in terms of water supply in the area?
So my understanding is we have some big tankers coming in that will carry large amounts of water. There's a hydrant that we have available to us. It would require a large hose lay. We would have to then put engines further along to continually pump them to give us the pressure that we needed, but that's something that we're always dealing with.
I had a question for Glenn County. I know that Code Red is the community notification system. Was that put into effect today just to make sure residents were aware that they had evacuation orders? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, we coordinated with our 911 center, and they're on top of it. They got the notifications out in a timely manner.
Was this via text, email? How does that work?
whatever method anybody signed up, that's how they got the alert. They can sign up through their telephone and email if they'd like. So
When does the first notification go out?
I'm not exactly sure the time, but we can get that information for you.
Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it.
Do you expect another update today?
It'll be one of those things that, I mean, no news is good news at this time, you know, so if we need to, we will, and that'll be determined at a later time. All right, thanks. All right.